Assalamu alaikum. Hello everybody. This is Abdul Majid. I am an architect, and just a few days ago, about over a week ago, I posted something on Facebook asking if somebody would be interested in looking into study of bounces and samples in Twinmotion. How many samples do you need? How many bounces do you need to take out a render or animation, for that matter? So, well, just quickly we'll look into this sheet and give you the stats. The reason is I'm too late is because I couldn't figure out a way to compile it and couldn't find the time. So the best way, as it turns out, I guess, would be to just speak. So here we are. Now this sheet, I will share everything with you so you can put renders against one another and see how it works. Now here we see samples, bounces, time, and file name. So if it says I, that's interior, then this is exterior, and this is another scene. It has a pool in it. And then samples, bounces, and then bounces, samples. So B2S128 means 2 bounces and 128 samples. So what I basically did was to study bounces, I took a constant figure of samples. So in this case, if you see, it's 128 samples all the way through, but bounces 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, and 32. And here's the time for each render. It's the same scene all the way through Lake House Retreat. And same goes for the samples. Bounces almost stay constant. Then I check from 32 until 124. Now, since there's nothing changing after about 128, yes. So when I came to 1024, I thought let's just increase the bounces. It might be relative, but it's not. Well, you can look into it in detail. I'll just give you a quick overview. So let's look into the lake house scene, this one. Excuse me. So we'll just look at the samples here. So if you see in this render, well, you can put it in detail and you can take a look at it. Basically, if you are going to from 32 to 48, well, 32 is good enough as it is, right? But if you are making a render, I would recommend going 256. If you are making rendering an animation and you are on you're on tight, like you have a deadline to meet, so you can just go 32 samples with 8 bounces or 16 bounces, because the bounces doesn't really matter after it. We'll take a look at it. That would be good enough. But if you want to go up to 128, fair enough. 256, if you have a good computer, maybe, but that's really, I believe it would be a waste of time. Let's just see. Reflections get better when we are switching between these two. You can look at the glass, the mirror. Basically, everything is the same from 32 to 64. Only the glass or maybe acoustics, if you have water in it, that would improve. Everything else doesn't really matter much. But it's not, the time difference is not that high, so you can try it. It doubles almost, I guess, or not. Let's see. From, yes, it's technically, yeah, almost doubles. So excuse me. So going up, we are changing samples. You can see it gets a bit better, and then again we can see some change. If I'm switching from 128 to 264, we can really see anything. Well, there is difference, but it's very minor, especially if you look at this small smudge. If you go all the way back to 32, it's smudged, this particular area. But if you go up, it clears up and kind of retains its texture and the reflections and stuff. Let's quickly look at bounces. This one is my design and model, etc. So I incorporated this in just to see how exterior would do. I have two different kinds of waters here. So anyways, I was learning, so be kind to me on this one. However, if you jump from 2 bounces to 4 bounces, you see it's different. From 4 to 8, yes, you can see the bounces does improve. Now 8 to 16, eh, nothing really. You can't even notice me switching the renders unless you look at water here. Now if I go back and forth, nothing much. Now if I am on 8, now if I go to 32, from 16 to 32, nothing. So basically, but the thing is, the time doesn't matter in bounces either, because from 2 bounces to 4 there is difference, but after 4, 8 is adding 2 or 3 seconds, and after 8 it gets stagnant in most of the cases, unless in this case, because there, yes, now here it might matter because there's water here. I'll show you the scene. It's not really good. I just thought that I should look at something that has water, and it's a really bad scene. I'm not an interior designer, so I just quickly put in some lights. I had already modeled this. I just put in some lights and thought, let's give it a go. So this is bounces. You see it fills up. The interior also fills up, right? And if you look at samples, it does kind of have that effect. And the thing is, if you have water, like this much water in the scene, it does add a lot to the time. You see, I have a lot of glass and water in it, so it does add time a lot. If you look at the other scenes, it's this one is the exterior scene from the same model, right? The one we saw. That is from that jumps from 1 minute 15 seconds to 2 minute 24 seconds, and this one is definitely higher by 1 minute almost. Not in 512 samples, it's up by about 30 seconds, but in this one it's a whole minute. So if you are making a rendering and animation at 1024, well, you should just leave the computer and go on vacation, then come back, it might be at 10%. Anyways, that's it. I'll upload everything on Google Drive. I'll share the link, and hopefully you can benefit from it and enjoy rendering. Thank you. Much ado.